එදිනෙදා ඔබේ මුළු සිරුරටම රැකවරණයක්. ස්වදේශී කොම්බු සබන්.
ලෙන්ගතුකම වැඩි කරගන්න ලව්ජු රුපියල් 50ට අඩු කළා.
මාමේ එන්න අපි තේ එකක් බොමු.
Tonight, unexpected turn of events. Close to 100 Kuwait returnees test positive for coronavirus. What new normal? Social distancing forgotten as Sri Lanka returns to old ways. Polls petition. Court asked whether petitioners think holding elections is a forever risk. This Tuesday, the 26th of May 2020.
From AdaDerana, this is AdaDerana First at 9.
හැටනමයි අනුහතට SMS කර රුපියල් මිලියන 3ක මුල්තැන්ගේ උපකරණ දිනාගෙන අවුරුද්දෙම කුස්සිය ටයිම් සේව් කරගන්න.
Live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
Good evening and welcome to First at 9. I'm AdaDerana. Let's start with your local stories. Now, the curfew was relaxed island-wide this morning at 4 a.m., including in the districts of Colombo and Gampaha, where the curfew remained in effect for over 2 months. The transportation sector operated as usual in the country under strict health guidelines. Although the government placed a considerable amount of faith on people to adhere to health protocols, such as social distancing, today's scenes prove that it has been largely misplaced. The curfew, meanwhile, will be reimposed once more at 10 p.m. today and be lifted tomorrow morning again at 4 a.m.
The curfew, which was in place island-wide, was lifted this morning, including in the districts of Colombo and Gampaha. As a result, scenes in streets and towns looked more familiar, reminiscent of pre-COVID-19 times. The Department of Railways stated that 26 office trains and 2 intercity trains were deployed to provide transportation to both private and public sector employees working in Colombo. The Department of Railways yesterday urged commuters to arrive at the stations half an hour prior to their journey, since hygienic and health processes such as hand washing and temperature checks have to be performed before boarding the trains. In the meantime, commuters who arrived at the railway station of Ambalanguda to obtain transport for Colombo expressed their displeasure as the train was late in arriving by 2 hours. The train which arrived later was also an intercity train, and they refused to provide transport for the passengers. However, the station master informed the situation to the Department of Railways, and the commuters were boarded onto the train from Biliatta and were sent to Colombo. Meanwhile, the interprovincial transportation of buses also commenced this morning, except in the districts of Colombo and Gampaha. The Sri Lanka Transport Board stated that 5,000 buses were deployed to provide for passenger convenience. However, the president of the Lanka Private Bus Owners Association, Gamunu Vijayratna, stated that only 30 to 40% of buses were deployed in Colombo and Gampaha from the number usually deployed. Though the people were urged by authorities to maintain social distancing with the relaxation of curfew, as a whole, it did not seem as though any attempts were made to adhere to the protocol.
ශ්‍රී ලංකා වාසී ජනතාවගෙන් ඉල්ලා සිටිනවා ශාරීරික දුරත්වභාවය රැකගන්න ඒත් එක්කම උපදෙස් වලට ක්‍රියා කරන්න විශේෂයෙන්ම රැකියා කරන ස්ථානවල වල ලබා දී ඇති උපදෙස් අනුව ක්‍රියා කරන්න වෙන වෙළඳසැල් විවෘත කරනවා නම් ඒ ස්ථානවලත් යම්කිසි ප්‍රමාණයක් කියලා තියෙනවා ඒ කඩයක් තුල නැත්තම් අනිත් ස්ථානවල හිටිය යුතු ප්‍රමාණයන් ඒවා හරියටම පවත්වාගෙන ගියොත් මම හිතන්නේ අපිට ඊටමත් කෙටි කාලයකින් COVID-19 ශ්‍රී ලංකාවෙන් තුරන් කිරීමට හැකියාවක් ලැබෙයි ඒ සඳහා ඔබ කරපු කැපකිරීම වගේම ඉදිරි සති කිහිපයේ තව දුරටත් කැපකිරීමක් කරලා කොවිඩ් පරාජය කිරීමට කටයුතු කරන්න කියන එකයි ඉල්ලන්න තියෙන්නේ.
In the meantime, masks and protective wear were distributed to the porters of PETA. In a separate development, police conducted a special operation in Peta to identify people who ignore safety protocols recommended by the government. The police also took steps to return home 2,000 people who were stranded in the areas of Piliyandala, Mount Lavinia and Nugegoda with the onset of curfew. A special train was deployed for them from Mount Lavinia for this purpose. During the past month, around 20,000 in similar circumstances were returned home. In the meantime, the University Grants Commission has decided to reopen medical faculties island-wide on the 15th of June in view of conducting examinations of final year students.
සෞඛ්‍ය බලධාරීන්ගේ උපදෙස් අනුව නිවෙස්වලට බී සිටින සරසවි සිසුන්ට සිය අධ්‍යයන කටයුතු එක්වර ආරම්භ කළ නොහැකි වෙතත් සෞඛ්‍ය බලධාරීන් සමග දීර්ඝ ලෙස සාකච්ඡා කළේ සඳහන් කොන්දේසි හා පිළිවෙතරයන්ට එකඟ වෙලා මේ වන විට තීරණය කළා තිබෙනවා ජුනි මාස 15 වෙනිදා සිට සියලුම වෛද්‍ය පීඨවල අවසන් වසරේ ශිෂ්‍යයන් සඳහා විභාග පැවැත්වීමේ කටයුත්ත සඳහා අවශ්‍ය ක්‍රියාමාර්ග ගැනීමට අනිත් ශිෂ්‍ය ශිෂ්‍යාවන් සඳහා අධීරගත ක්‍රමයකට විශ්වවිද්‍යාල විවෘත කිරීමත් ක්‍රියාමාර්ග ගැනීමට
එහිදී තියෙන වැදගත්ම දේ තමයි නේවාසිකාගාර වෙන්වන්නේ එක් වෛද්‍ය ශිෂ්‍යයෙකුට එක් කාමරයක් බැගින් ඔවුන් සති දෙකක නිරෝධායන කාල සීමාවකට යටත් කරලා ඉන් පසුව තමයි මේ විභාග කටයුතු වලට යොමු වෙන්නේ.
Meanwhile, mayors of the Colombo Municipal Council, Rosi Senanaika, stated that it has been decided to grant permission to reopen hotels and restaurants within the city which are registered with the Tourist Board.
Now, Sri Lanka saw a sudden uptick in the number of COVID-19 cases, largely contributed by the people who were repatriated from the Middle East. The total number of infected people in the country went up to 1,278, having risen by 96 fresh cases today, which is the highest number of daily toll reported so far. Among the 96 new cases reported today, 88 are returnees from Kuwait, and the remaining 6 have been confirmed as naval personnel.
Sri Lanka saw another death yesterday owing to COVID-19 after a Kuwait returnee undergoing quarantine at the Trincomalee facility succumbed to the virus. The returnee was a 51-year-old resident of Payagala and had been ailing from a heart condition while she was travelling to a quarantine centre. The woman had passed away after she was admitted to the General Hospital of Trincomalee. Her final rites were performed at the crematorium in Trincomalee in adherence to quarantine regulations. Meanwhile, a group of people had accompanied the victim to the Trincomalee hospital during the admission process, and they were directed to self-isolate at their homes. A total of 466 Sri Lankans in Kuwait, including the deceased woman, were repatriated on the 19th and 20th of this month. From those returnees, 90 people tested positive for COVID-19. 40 persons of the 41 cases of COVID-19 identified in the country yesterday are returnees from Kuwait, and the other person is an arrival from Dubai who is placed under quarantine.
පෙරේද හමුණු 49ත් ඊයේ හමුණු 41ත් මේ කොවිඩ් ආසාදයේ නිවි පැමිණි ශ්‍රී ලංකාවට පැමිණියාවලු. නැත්නම් ලංකාවට ඇවිල්ලා ලංකාව ඇතුලේ කොවිඩ් ආසාදිතයන් නෙමෙයි. ඇත්තටම අපි ගණන් හැදුවොත් මේ කට්ටිය පිටරට කොවිඩ් කියන එකක් තමයි ගණන් ගන්නේ. ලංකාවේ කොවිඩ් ගානට අපි එකතු කරාට මේ කට්ටිය පිටරට ඉඳලා එද්දිම ඇවිල්ලා නිරෝධායන මධ්‍යස්ථානට ඇතුළු වුණු වහාම අපි PCR පරීක්ෂණයක් කරනවා. ඒ PCR පරීක්ෂණයේදී වුන් කොවිඩ් ආසාදිතයන් හැටියට සොයා ගන්න ලබන. ඉතින් ඒකින්ද මේ කට්ටිය පිටරට ඉඳලාම කොවිඩ් සමග පැමිණියා හැටියටයි අපිට හඳුන්වන්නේ.
In this backdrop, the government suspended the repatriation of Sri Lankans from the Middle East. Additional Secretary to the President on Foreign Relations regarding COVID-19, Admiral Professor Jainath Kolambage told AdaDerana that a flight which was scheduled to airlift 273 Sri Lankans from Doha in Qatar this morning was temporarily suspended. Meanwhile, 181 students stranded in Moscow who were repatriated yesterday were sent for quarantine. 2 members of the flight's cabin crew were also sent to the Purani quarantine centre as they were found travelling in Moscow during their journey to repatriate the students. In the meantime, a Sri Lankan who was stranded in South Africa for 2 months returned to the island yesterday via Dubai on board a cargo flight of the Emirates Airlines. He is an airline technical officer attached to the Emirates and had been stranded after travelling to South Africa for further training. Health authorities placed the number of COVID-19 infections detected in the country at 1,278, with only 526 remaining active. With 17 more people returning to their daily lives after complete recoveries, the overall tally of recoveries stand at 712. Daily PCR tests are being carried out targeting people who might have come into contact with carriers of COVID-19. Accordingly, biosamples were obtained from 30 randomly selected residents in Vellavatta. Reports show that no community infections have been confirmed in Sri Lanka for the last 26 days, and positive cases confirmed are of naval personnel and the cluster of repatriated persons.
කොරෝනා වෛරසය පැතිරීම වළක්වන්න සබන් යොදා දෑත් සෝදන්න.
Now, as the country has returned to some version of normalcy with the relaxation of the curfew, officials of the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 moods reopening of the Bandaranaike International Airport for foreign tourist arrivals. These views came during a meeting worked off between task force members and President Gotabaya Rajapaksa at the Presidential Secretariat.
A meeting with the officials of the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 was worked off at the Presidential Secretariat under the patronage of President Gotabaya Rajapaksa today. Discussions were held with regards to the actions to be taken to uplift the tourism industry, which was heavily affected by the virus. As the country has returned to normal, the officials of the task force has suggested that the Bandaranaike International Airport be opened up for tourist arrivals. Furthermore, the officials also highlighted the fact that no COVID-19 case have been confirmed in the country by way of community transmission, while identifying it as a victory in the fight against the virus. The President, meanwhile, has also pointed out the necessity to open up the country for tourists under national and international health guidelines. What's more, the President also stated that it is important to take further steps by consulting experts of both tourism and health sector. Under the first phase, hotels and restaurants registered under Sri Lanka Tourism Development Authority will be reopened for in-house dining. Steps will be taken to open unregistered eateries under the assistance and supervision of the Army and public health officers based on the progress of the first phase.
And moving on with other news, the Supreme Court heard the fundamental rights petitions filed challenging the President's Gazette notification dissolving Parliament and the date set for polls by the Election Commission for the 6th day today. Now, it was taken up before a 5-member Supreme Court bench headed by the Chief Justice. 7 parties, including Attorney at Law Chartha Gunaratne, Centre for Policy Alternatives, journalist Victor Ivan and Samagi Janabalawega, filed the petitions.
The multiple petitions filed before the Supreme Court challenging the Gazette notification dissolving Parliament issued by President Gotabaya Rajapaksa on the 2nd of March was taken up for the 6th day today. Making submissions on behalf of the Attorney General and the Director General of Health Services, Additional Solicitor General Indika Demuni de Silva informed court that 16th, 17th, 18th and 19th were declared holidays, days after the President issued the Gazette notification. The Additional Solicitor General told court that although the petitioners challenged the nomination process being carried out during holidays, they had not posed objections while submitting nominations. Quoting a statement issued by the World Health Organization, the Additional Solicitor General said that whether a vaccine is found or not, people will have to learn to live with COVID-19 as the virus may never go away. Therefore, the Additional Solicitor General questioned whether the petitioner's argument is whether having elections is a forever risk. The Additional Solicitor General submitted a confidential intelligence report directed to the President by the Chief of State Intelligence. Pointing at the data compiled in the report, she noted that no community infection was reported since the 1st of May and the sudden increase in the number of patients are due to cases being detected among repatriated Sri Lankans. Chief Justice Jayanta Jayasuriya informed the Additional Solicitor General to hand over the report to the Election Commission as it would be important for the Commission to take a decision on the election date. The Additional Solicitor General also stated that the petitioners have sought a Supreme Court interpretation of the term public service despite the President being provided a clear provision via the Constitution to draw from the Consolidated Fund to fund public services in a situation where the Parliament is dissolved. She pointed out that the petitioners have no power to seek interpretations of the Constitution and can only seek relief from the court if their fundamental rights are violated.
We will see you shortly after this break. Stay tuned. Welcome back. You're watching First at 9. Now, the Presidential Commission of Inquiry appointed to investigate incidents of political victimization during the former regime heard that former Director General of the Bribery Commission offered to release Avangard Chairman Nisanka Senadipati from all legal proceedings if he implicates former Defence Secretary and current President Gotabaya Rajapaksa in the case. Senadipati went on to say that the Deputy Inspector General of Police in charge of GOL in 2015 colluded with former Minister Rajitha Senaratne when filing a B report pertaining to the matter.
Chairman of the Avangard Maritime Services Nisanka Senadipati appeared before the Presidential Commission of Inquiry appointed to investigate incidents of political victimization during the period of January 8, 2015 and November 16, 2019 this morning to provide evidence pertaining to a written complaint he lodged before. He told the Commission that revenue over 500 million rupees was brought to the country via his business and it provided employment to over 4,500 people. He went on to say that following the Government of Good Governance coming to power, the Harbour Police Station of Galle inspected the floating armoury MV Mahanuvara owned by Avangard on the 18th of January 2015 and that the police reported information to the Galle Magistrates Court on operating an illegal armoury. Meanwhile, a legal counsel representing Nisanka Senadipati told the Commission not a single suspect was named, even by the time when 5 years passed since Galle Police filed the first B report pertaining to the inspecting of Avangard vessel to Galle Magistrates Court. He added that then DIG in charge of Galle filed a B report saying the vessel was an unidentified one after he obtained instructions from then Minister Rajitha Senaratne in prison. Nisanka Senadipati meanwhile told the Commission that he was politically victimized in an attempt to imprison former Defence Secretary and current President Gotabaya Rajapaksa pertaining to a legal case. He went on to say that then Director General of the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption Dilrukshi Dias summoned and told him that she offered to release him from all legal proceedings if he signs an affidavit saying money was given to former Defence Secretary Gotabaya Rajapaksa pertaining to the Avangard case. Senadipati added that Dilrukshi Dias later apologized over her actions and that she confessed she filed cases against him and Gotabaya Rajapaksa over political pressure.
Now, a rare black panther was found caught in a trap in an estate in Lakshapana within the Nallatanya Police Division. Wildlife officers said that the big cat was found caught in a wire trap, wounded, adding that police protection was provided until veterinarians of the Wildlife Department arrived and tranquilized the animal to release it from the snare. Wildlife officials said that the big cat was about 8 years old and was 6 feet in length and 4 feet in height. The Sri Lankan panther has been a mystery for many years, and sightings throughout recent history have been extremely rare due to the low population and the solitary nature of the animals. Although it is called a black panther, the animal is in fact a leopard with melanesium, meaning they have a genetic mutation that gives them unusually high levels of pigment melanin, making their fur jet black with subtle spots. In other news, the fundamental rights petition filed by IGP Pujit Jayasundara seeking a court order declaring the decision to send him on compulsory leave unconstitutional has been fixed for support on the 8th of September. A three-judge bench of the Supreme Court consisting of Justices Murdu Fernando, S. Tureraja and Yasantha Kodagoda took the petition up for today. IGP Pujit Jayasundara was handed compulsory leave on the 29th of April last year over investigations on the Easter Sunday attacks. He subsequently filed an FR petition with the Supreme Court citing the former President, former Speaker of Parliament, members of the Constitutional Council, the Attorney General and several others as its respondents. The IGP emphasises that he was sent on compulsory leave in the backdrop of Easter Sunday attacks as per the orders of then President Maithripala Sirisena. However, this has violated his fundamental rights since the President is not in the disciplinary authority. Sri Lankan stocks closed 0.41% lower today while bond yields eased in active trade. The all-share price index closed 19.67 points lower at 4,780.22. The S&P SL20 index of more liquid stocks closed 37.18 points down at 1,997.20. Market turnover for the day was over 1 billion rupees, while 54 stocks gained and 103 fell. Now here's a brief report on today's market performance.
Today we saw some selling pressure that was there in the market. The market saw a downward shift at the start of the day itself and then was stagnant throughout the day. We saw selling interest coming mainly in the banking sector counters, especially we saw selling pressure in Commercial Bank, Sampath Bank and HNB. The ASPI actually declined around 20 points today and the S&P SL20 index declined by around 37 points for the day. With the blue chips coming down, we are seeing that the S&P SL20 index is falling far beyond the ASPI index. Mainly on the top turnover side, we saw heavy interest in John Case Holdings and Commercial Bank in terms of trading. 420 million turnover was recorded in John Case Holdings, over 40% of the day's turnover. Today was yet another day where we saw turnover exceeding 1 billion rupees. We saw a lot of retail interest during the day, and then high net worth and institutional were all present in the market today.
Now to give you a currency update, the Sri Lankan rupee closed at 186 against the US dollar, 0.27% weaker compared with last session's close of 185 rupees and 5 cents. Now let's take a look at how the Sri Lankan rupee traded against other major currencies during the day. We will see you once more on the other side of this break. Bear with us. Welcome back. This is First at 9. Now, Hong Kong's leader, Carrie Lam, has said other countries have no place interfering in the territory as she robustly defended a controversial national security law planned by China. The law would ban treason, secession, sedition and subversion. Critics, however, say it would limit the city's freedoms. But in her first public comments, Lam said it was a responsible move to protect the law-abiding majority, and she denied that the law would curtail the rights of Hong Kongers. These rights, set out in the Basic Law, which is Hong Kong's mini-constitution, have been in place since it was handed back to China in 1997 by the United Kingdom. The Basic Law guarantees certain freedoms to the territories, such as the right to protest, which do not exist on the mainland. In the weekend, there was a brief return to the protests seen last year, with police firing tear gas as thousands of people took to the streets. And that's it from all of us here at First at 9. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.